Hi guys, I'm unable to be there with you today, so I made a video to help you through the percent change and the percent error lesson. Please be kind to your sub, please be helpful, make sure you're being safe with your mask above your nose, and make sure you're listening to all directions and being respectful and cooperative. All right, let's get started. So our learning targets today are I can find percent change, I can find the percent error, and I can match expressions with descriptions of percents. So, percent of change. Consider this problem. A store owner bought Apple Watches for $250 and sold them for $410. What is the percent markup? So, wholesale they were $250, but retail he sold them for $410. So, when an amount increases or decreases, you may be asked to find the percent change. To find the percent change, we use difference over original. So we take the difference between the two amounts and we divide it by the original amount. What does the word difference mean? Subtract. So we're going to subtract the two values, then we're going to divide by the original value. So let's solve this problem. A store owner bought Apple Watches for $250 and sold them for $410. What is the percent markup? So we have to find the difference over the original. So first let's work on the difference. Let's do $410 minus $250. Go ahead and find the difference. Okay, you should have found the difference to be $160. So that goes in the numerator. In the denominator, we need to put the original price. Which one is the original price? The original price is the one that occurs first. So the Apple Watch originally was $250. So that is the original price. Okay, on your calculator, go ahead and divide 160 divided by 250 and see what you get. Okay, you should get 0.64. The last thing we need to do is to turn this into a percent by moving the decimal over once, moving the decimal over twice, and we get 64%. Now, was this a 64% increase or a 64% decrease? The price went from 250 to 410. So this was a 64% markup or a 64% increase. So we have to label our answer by labeling it an increase, or in this specific situation, we could label it a markup. All right, next slide. After sales tax, the cost of the $80 Keurig increased to $87.20. What is the sales tax percentage? So we're going to do difference over original to find out what percent that sales tax was that made the price increase. So first, let's find the difference. Go ahead and subtract the two values to find the difference. Okay, you should have gotten $7.20. So that's what we're going to put in the numerator. In the denominator, we have to put the original amount. What was the Keurig priced at first? $80. So that's going to be our original amount. Now go ahead on your calculator and do 7.20 divided by 80. Okay, you should have gotten 0.09. Now let's convert that into a decimal, and that's 9%. Now, was that a 9% increase in price or a 9% decrease in price? It was a 9% increase in price because it was a 9% tax. So we're going to label it as 9% sales tax. A store owner bought travel mugs for $7.48 and sold them for $22.44. What is the percent markup? All right, we need to do difference over original. So go ahead and find the difference between the two prices. All right, you should have found that the difference is $14.96. So that's going to go in our numerator. Which one of these prices is the original price? Which one comes first? $7.48. So that's going to go in our denominator. All right, go ahead and do 1496 divided by 748. All right, you should get 2. Now, the answer is not 2%. The answer is 2, and we need to turn that into a percent. So we're going to move the decimal over once, move the decimal over twice. That's 200%, which means this store owner marked up the price by 200%. Last year, Gemma's soccer team won 12 games. This year, they won 4 games. What is the percent decrease? Well, we have to do difference over original. Go ahead and find the difference between the two amounts. All right, we should know that that is 8. So let's put 8 in the numerator. Okay, which one of these is the original amount? Which one came first in time? 12 games. So that is the denominator. Go ahead and do 8 divided by 12. All right, you should get 0.6 repeating. Were you asked to round your answer? No. So how do you write a repeating decimal as a percent? You still have to move the decimal over once, move the decimal over twice. That's where the decimal is going to go. So it's going to be 66 point, and then after that decimal, we'll be repeating sixes. So we would write it like this, 66.6 repeating percent. Because behind the decimal, there are repeating sixes. Now, is that an increase or a decrease? They went from winning 12 games to 4 games. That is a decrease. So we're going to label this as 66.6 repeating percent decrease. Yesterday, Mark earned 7 stickers. Today, Mark earned 8 stickers. What is the percent increase? Round to the nearest percent. So we're going to do difference over original. So what is the difference between those two amounts of stickers? Just 1. So 1 is going to go into the numerator. Which is the original amount of stickers? 7. So 7 is going to go into the denominator. Okay, go ahead and do 1 divided by 7 on your calculator. Okay, you should get this long decimal. And it says round to the nearest percent in the directions. So we're going to convert this into a percent and then we're going to round. So move the decimal over once, move the decimal over twice. As a percent, it would look like this. Now we can round to the nearest percent. And to the nearest percent, it would be about 14%. Is that a 14% increase or a 14% decrease? He went from 7 stickers to 8 stickers. That's an increase. The answer would be about 14% increase. What if you were asked to round to the nearest tenth of a percent? Okay, well, the first thing we would need to do is we need to turn this into a percent. So I'm going to move the decimal over once, move the decimal over twice. This is what it would look like as a percent. To the nearest tenth of the percent, this is the tenths place. So I'm going to cut it off at the 2. Now, is that number going to stay at 2 or am I going to round it up to a 3? I'd have to round it up to a 3 because the next number over is an 8. So this would be 14.3% increase. What if you were asked to round to the nearest hundredth of a percent? Well, again, you have to take the decimal and make it into a percent first. I move the decimal over once, I move the decimal over twice. Now it's a percent. A hundredths place is where the 8 is. So would I keep that an 8 or would I round it up to a 9? I'd have to round it up to a 9 because the next number over is a 5. So this would be 14.29% increase. Sienna makes $12 an hour. Today she was told that she will make an extra 75 cents an hour. What is the percent increase in Sienna's pay? Difference over original. Careful. Here we're not going to subtract. The difference that she's going to make is 75 cents extra. So 75 cents is the difference between what she was making before and what she's about to make now. The original amount is $12 an hour. So here we're just going to have to do 0.75 divided by 12. All right, you should get 0.0625. Move the decimal over once, move the decimal over twice. Were you asked to round? No. So we're going to say that was a 6.25% increase in her pay or decrease in her pay? Increase in her pay. 6.25% increase. What if you were asked to round to the nearest tenth of a percent? Well, first you have to make the decimal into a percent. Move the decimal over once, move the decimal over twice. Now it's a percent, and now I can round to the nearest tens place. The tens place is where this 2 is. So would I keep this as 6.2% or should I round it up to 6.3%? I should round it up to 6.3%. So that's about a 6.3% increase. Georgia is asked to find the percent change from $50 to $125. Can you find her mistake? All right. So it looks like in the numerator, she does $125 minus $50, and she divides that by $125. I want you guys to pause the video and try to find the mistake that Georgia made when finding the percent change. All right, you should have found that Georgia did not divide by the original price. The original price is $50. So in the denominator here, this should say $50 instead of $125. Percent of error. Consider this problem. Connor guessed that there were 300 marbles in this jar. There were actually 305 marbles. What was his percent error? When you make a guess or an estimate, you may be asked to find the percent error. To find the percent error, we use difference over actual. Again, what does difference mean? Subtract. So we subtract the two values, then we divide by the actual value. Jacob estimated that there were 12 minutes left in class. There were actually 15 minutes left. What is the percent error? So he was slightly off, so let's find out what percent off he was. We're going to do difference over actual. So first, what is the difference between these two amounts? 3. So 3 goes for difference. Second, what is the actual amount? I don't mean which one came first. I mean, how many minutes were there actually left in class? So let's see. Jacob estimated that there were 12 minutes left in class. That's his estimate. There were actually 15 minutes left. So 15 should go in the denominator. Okay, go ahead and do 3 divided by 15. You should get 0.2, which would be what as a percent? 20%. So he made a 20% error, which means his estimate was 20% off of the actual amount. Mr. Grant estimated that he would spend $280 on groceries. He actually spent $320. What is the percent error? So we're going to do difference over actual. Go ahead and find the difference between those two amounts. Okay, you should have found the difference was $40. And what is the actual amount? Mr. Grant estimated that he would spend $280 on groceries. He actually spent $320. So $320 would be the actual amount he spent. Go ahead and divide those two numbers on your calculator. All right, you should have gotten 0.125, which when we turn into a percent, that is 12.5% error. Emma guessed her home was 3 miles away from Spry. She was actually 2.5 miles away from Spry. Which expression could be used to find her percent error? All right, go ahead and try this one and see which expression would help you find the percent error. All right, the answer is you have to look for the one that's difference over actual. She was actually 2.5 miles away. So the difference over actual would be letter D. In the numerator, you're doing 3 minus 2.5, that's the difference. And in the denominator, you put the actual number. The price of a bike was X dollars. What could 1.05X represent? A, the price with a 5% discount. B, the price with a 105% markup. C, the amount of 5% tax. Or D, the total cost with 5% tax. Well, 105% means you have to pay 100% and 5% extra. So it can't be A because A is a 5% discount, which means you'd only have to pay 95%. It can't be B because if there was a 105% markup, you'd have to pay 205%. It can't be C because if we're just finding 5% tax, we'd multiply by 0.05. It has to be D because if you're paying 1.05, that's the total cost with 5% added on. The price of a taco was X dollars. What could 0.8X represent? A, the price with an 80% discount. B, the amount of 8% tax. C, the price with a 20% discount. Or D, the price with 80% tip. All right, it cannot be A because if it was the price with an 80% discount, then you would only have to pay 20%. It can't be B because the amount of 8% tax would be 0.08X. The answer is C, the price with a 20% discount. Because if there's a 20% discount, that means you only have to pay 80%. And it can't be D because the price with 80% tip would be 180%. What happened to the original price? Okay, imagine the original price is X, and I tell you that the new price is 0.95 times 1.25X. What happened to the original price? So first you have to start inside parentheses. If I'm multiplying X by 1.25, did the price increase or decrease? It increased. How much did it increase by? 25%. Now let's go outside of parentheses. I'd be multiplying by 0.95. Did the price increase or decrease? Since it's less than 1, it decreased. How much did it decrease by? Well, if it's 95%, that means it decreased by 5%. So what happened to the original price here is first, in parentheses, it increased by 25%. And next, outside of parentheses, it would decrease by 5%. What happened to the original price? So imagine the original price is X. Let's look inside of parentheses. So did this price increase or decrease? Since it's less than 1, it decreased. What percent did it decrease by? So if we're just finding 60% of X, that must mean it decreased by 40%. Outside of parentheses, we're multiplying by 1.08. Would that make the price increase or decrease? That would make the price increase. By what percent? By 8%. A microwave was X dollars. It was marked up 75%. Then it was discounted 20%. Which expression represents the new price? All right, so it should look like the ones that we did on the slides before. If it was marked up 75%, then in the parentheses, we should see it being multiplied by 1.75. Then if it was discounted 20%, then outside of the parentheses, we should see it be multiplied by 80%. So which one was the right answer? E. First, the microwave gets marked up by 75%, so 1.75 is what we would multiply by. If it gets discounted by 20%, then there's only 80% left, so we'd multiply it by 0.80. A hat was X dollars. On Monday, it was on sale for 35% off. Connor bought the hat and paid 6% tax. Which expression represents the amount that Connor paid? Well, first, the hat is 35% off. So I need to look at a price that in parentheses is 65% of the price. Next, he's going to pay that price with 6% tax. So outside of parentheses, I'd need to see it multiplied by 1.06. So the answer should be D. If the item is 35% off, you only have to pay 65%. And then to be charged that amount with tax, you would multiply it by 1.06. A Ring doorbell was X dollars. Target marked up the price by 80%. Gianna paid for the doorbell, including 7% tax. Which expression represents the amount that Gianna paid? All right, first Target's going to mark up the price by 80%. So I need to find X times 180%. Gianna's going to pay for the doorbell, including 7% tax. So outside of the parentheses, I need to see that she's paying 100% plus 7%. That's 107%. So the answer would be D. First, you'd find the amount with an 80% markup. Then you take that new price and you multiply it by 100% plus 7% extra for tax. Target practice. Question number 1. Ricky's meal at Hooligans was $16. Including tip, Ricky paid $19.20. What percent tip did Ricky leave? Here you would do percent change. Question number 2. Write an expression that represents the price of a smoothie X, including 5% tax. All right, pause the video and then unpause to check your answers.